Oh, hi everyone. Welcome to the Jen and Fane show for what day is it today? February 25th, 2022. Hard to believe it's almost March.
I know, right?
We are your hosts. I'm Fane Grant with Home Life here in Abbotsford, British Columbia. And Jen will you can introduce yourself.
I'm Jennifer Foley. Jennifer Foley
Awesome.
Realtor.
And so today we're talking about underground oil storage tanks. So now, when Jen and I were doing our prep talk for this, now you were saying that this isn't necessarily something that you see a whole lot of where you are.
Not,
Is that
not
true?
anymore. Not
Okay.
anymore. So if I was looking for it, I typically would look for it in older homes, but it's not a common thing that we see much anymore.
Okay. Was it at one point in time, like when you first started selling real estate, was that something that you were seeing quite often, or like how has that changed?
I would say that I in my experience, I didn't see a whole lot of them, but if I did suspect something, then I would get a home inspector in there, or I would consult with a home inspector, or
Right.
take a picture of what I was seeing that may be a concern and sending it to one of my home inspectors
Yeah.
on behalf of my
So
buyer client just to see.
like what would that be? Like if you see something, what would you see that would sort of trigger that red flag?
Sometimes when I've shown homes, there's like these pipes that are coming out of the ground, or you will see the concrete pads where you would suspect that maybe an oil tank once was, but certainly underground oil tanks typically are ones that are found outside. So if I suspected, like on a home, maybe there was a house that comes to mind. It was a farmhouse and it was on 10 acres.
Okay.
And just I can't remember exactly what it was in the basement, but there was a pipe coming out of the ground. And so when we sold that property to these buyers, I said, we have to be mindful that there could be an underground oil tank here, right? Given the age of the home and just whatever else we saw there. So they had a home inspection. Home inspector brought his little poker rod, went down, felt, into the ground and stuff. And
Okay. Yep.
based on his assessment, he didn't think that there was a concern there for anything like that.
Right.
But sometimes, yeah, you'll see pipes and different things that, may make you wonder if there is. But again, a lot of people have switched over to natural gas now. So
Yeah.
other than in country, rural areas where it's probably more prominent for oil
Okay.
heat to be a
Yeah.
source of heat still.
Yeah.
But again, I think, old farmhouses, that kind of stuff would be more
Yeah.
where I'm more sort of cautious on that, or anything pre 1950s,
Yeah.
1960s, even maybe 1970s. I'm not really sure where the cutoff is on that.
Yes. See, that's so interesting because here it's the complete opposite. So basically, in like the very densely populated areas in like Vancouver and New Westminster, for example, there's some really old historic homes that were built in sort of early 1900s to 1950 type thing.
Yeah.
And how it worked is that basically all of the homes that were so close together, rather than having the oil tank above ground, which was what they used on sort of more rural properties, they put it underground because there was less space, and so people had their backyards or front yards, and because the houses were so much closer together, they would put the oil storage tank underground, and that's where we were
Huh.
finding a lot of the buried oil underground oil storage tanks. Holy moly, that's a tongue twister. So so a lot of the homes, like at one point in time, depending on where you're working too, right? I mean, if you're in an area that there's a lot of homes that potentially could have been built in and around the same time,
Are
quite
these like row houses that you're talking about, like
nope.
townhouses?
Single
No.
family detached. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Even my parents' place that was built in 1920, I believe, and they had one at one point, so they had to remove it. And it's like the actual removal of it isn't that big of a deal, but what the problem is that if ever there's leakage or if it wasn't emptied out properly, and then you get the contamination, that's where it can be
Yeah, they're made
environmental.
of metal. They're made of
What's
metal,
that?
right? So the oil tank is made of metal, so
Yeah,
it does eventually rust, and
right.
it becomes a huge expense. I know in the province of Ontario, they were mandated at some point that every underground oil tank be removed.
Yeah, that was
So
found. Yes, that was found. Yeah. And so
Yeah, so
does the fire, is it like through the fire department that they keep record of that?
you know what? I would have to do some research on that because I don't remember because it's been such a long time since it's even been
Yeah.
really an issue, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
They are becoming more obsolete here as well too, and I'm finding that in certain areas that are sort of farther away from Vancouver, farther away from New
yeah.
West, all of the popular areas where they had them, it's really difficult even to get them to come out and do an oil tank scan now. Because usually if you're doing a home inspection and you see something or it fits the profile or, any of your triggers kind of go off on your radar, even to just get somebody to come out and do like a sonar scan. It's
Is that
yeah,
like
it's
a
really
metal detector kind of thing?
okay.
Or
Yeah,
okay,
they come do a little metal detector scanning all over, and they'll be able to tell. Okay, so if it looks like there's something in the ground that's in a shape of a kind of rectangle.
yeah.
There's a really good possibility. But so I mean, at one point in time when I was working the New West market, it was like $50 to do a scan, super super easy. Now you're looking at $500 or $600 just to do the scan, depending on where you want
Really?
them to do
But,
it.
you know,
Yeah, it's getting harder.
let's put that in perspective though, because like I don't know about today, but
Yeah,
from what I remember, it was like $25,000 like 10 years ago just to get them removed, right? So, I
yeah.
mean, if a scan is $500 versus that, larger, if your
Oh,
insurance company doesn't cover it, which I don't know, I don't think they would, but you
I don't
never know,
think
right?
so. Yeah, it's true.
So
Yeah, it does put things into perspective, and if there's any oil contamination, to be able to have to remove all that and to get everything up to code for the environmental standards, yeah, it can be quite costly. So I know it is worth it to do it for sure. If you're purchasing something that, again, typically but pre-1960, even in the 1970s, it really depends. But yeah, if you're purchasing something within that profile, you definitely need to make sure that you cover your grounds, because when it comes time to sell, definitely we're in a really busy market right now, so things sell very very quickly. But if ever we're in a slower market and things do start to slow down, well, buyers are going to get a lot pickier, so to speak, and they'll want to really dot their i's and cross their t's and really dig into everything. So just something to think about.
100%. All
Yeah.
right. I'll hope everybody found that useful and helpful.
Yes.
And if you guys have any questions about it, please reach out and ask us.
Thanks so much, you guys. See you next week.